So Scotland against the USA. Gordon Bullock for Scotland there, Dave Hodges for the USA, referee Jonathan Kaplan in the middle, and USA choosing which way to go, and that means that Scotland are going to kick off. And the kicking of Chris Patterson there, and that stadium has filled up very nicely indeed. The Suncorp, there's going to be around about 40,000 there. Great crowds throughout this tournament. The kicking of Chris Patterson, you're saying, is going to be vital.
Absolutely. Gordon Ross is obviously not involved in the squad. Chris Patterson has the kicking duties. He only kicked 4 out of 6 against Japan, and he certainly got to nail the first few penalties, because if he can get down there and get 2, 3, 4 penalties, suddenly you get that comfort there.
Let's join David Soul, former Scotland skipper, and Nigel Starmer-Smith.
The Eagles have landed here in Brisbane, a warm, sultry evening for what could be more of a challenge to Scotland than many might have anticipated. Good morning and good evening from David and me from the Suncorp Stadium as the pace hots up and the tension rises in the pool rounds. Tonight's game in Pool B, in which, as we've heard, the USA, the Eagles, were just one conversion short of a famous victory over Fiji. Scotland having a bonus point victory over Japan, even if it wasn't as fluent as they'd hoped. A must-win occasion for both in the group that also, of course, includes France. So the teams lining up, and alongside me is David Soul. Nervous apprehension, David?
Never in doubt, this one. They've got to play with a lot of confidence, and I think it's very important. Key players are going to be Blair and Townsend and Henderson in that midfield. It's absolutely critical that these guys have a good game, and I think Brian Redpath could find himself under a little bit of pressure.
Metcalf, of course, adds an interesting option at fullback, doesn't he?
Oh yes, he's a fantastic runner, great sidestep, lots of pace, and really a bit of a rapier in the Scottish side.
There's exactly the same lineup as last time. Don't underestimate this side. I know Scotland won't. They're a big back row. Hodges there, Dan Lyle, we all know him, ex-Bath, now Leicester. Luke Gross from Rotherham, not only the tallest man in the World Cup, but the most capped American of all time. Well, I think a much improved outfit, the USA. They've got new confidence from the game against Fiji. No pushover, this outfit. The anthems beginning with the Star Spangled Banner, which was adopted in 1914. And first, the Scottish anthem. Well, there's a lot of support in this stadium for Scotland. In the streets, they were having a good time, and they're now all packed into the stadium. Now, for the Eagles of the USA, the Star Spangled Banner. quite often enough in big athletic occasions. In fact, the music written by an Englishman, John Stafford Smith. So the scene is set, and a must-win, David Soul, for both teams.
Yes, and I think more importantly for Scotland, they must have a convincing victory. They must get the extra bonus point by scoring 4 tries, and they must solve some selection problems for Ian McGeechan and his team. That man, Gregor Townsend, element of uncertainty whether he should be playing at fly half or inside centre, or indeed whether Gordon Ross should be the first choice, and perhaps Andy Craig and James McLaren in the centre.
In many ways, the remarkable thing is that he's there at all, isn't it, with that surgery on his knee as recently as the 12th of September. Remarkable comeback for the most capped Scotland of all time. Scots player who, of course, has now moved back to the new borders. Seasons in Brive and Castres, and for him, I think a particularly big night, isn't it?
Very much so.
So there's his opposite number, Mike Hercus, who had that tantalising moment, a conversion that could have seen victory over Fiji, instead of which it was a continuous sequence of defeats. But I have some respect for this side, quite a lot, in fact, the USA Eagles. They're big, strong, newly confident, very determined. It's a real challenge tonight for Scotland. And they have the talent, of course. There's a very good referee who's going to be in charge from South Africa, 37-year-old Jonathan Kaplan, and 7 years in the top flight, one of those who's come through to the top rank in younger years, and I have a highest respect for his officiation. So we're about to go. Scotland versus the USA. Away by Gregor Townsend. Well, they've a lot of running skills out wide, the USA. Hercus, though, more orthodox, conventional from his own goal line. He's a player who's known over here from the past, played for Australia under-21s, partnering a South African at scrum half is Kevin Dolezal. Played some of his rugby in Montferrand. Great atmosphere building here. 6 is Ross Beattie. Here's the captain, Gordon Bullock, of course, with Brian Redpath, the squad captain, on the bench. Knockdown advantage being played. Mike Blair's first touch in the World Cup. Good drive. Hoisted high by Gregor Townsend. Up comes Emmerich. Untidy in defence. Threatening there now the line. Phil Ethos is covering. Eloch gets it to touch. Not a bad opening.
Not bad from a Scottish perspective. In you go. The Eagles very uncertain under that high ball from Gregor Townsend.
4 is Nathan Hines. 5 Stuart Grimes. 6 Ross Beattie. Look at the height of the tail. That's without including Simon Taylor. Didn't really make the gain line there. Drive on again, this time by Hines. Blair brought Danieli in, and he's out on this front now, moving back inside the 22. Blair losing possession. It went backwards, but it's been turned over with the captain Dave Hodges. But there is a knock-on preceding it, so it will be Scotland's ball.
Just a whistle. Well, Mike Blair hasn't had a very comfortable start to this match. A little bit untidy ball from the line out. At the time he was unable to get it away from the ruck. He just needs to settle into his game. He's a terrifically exciting player.
Age 22. His rugby with the Edinburgh District.
Crouch and hold. Engage. At the back, on the hit.
So the edge and weight is with the USA. It's going to have to come back.
Go back, please. You pulled back on the engagement. Play on.
Here's Blair, one of the taller scrum halves. Townsend, and good tackle up the middle by Dan Lyle.
Onside, 3.
Blair.
Advantage for blue.
Quite physical, quite tight in defence, but it's still advantage being played to Scotland now, with Hines once again very much to the fore.
Number 12
But they've got a penalty, so there may be points to come out of it anyway. Offside by both Cross, the centre, and prop forward Dan Dorsey.
3 the pillar and 12 offsides.
Well, the Scottish forward trying to drive close to the breakdown at the moment, and it wasn't a very successful tactic against the Japanese. Most of these sides in the World Cup very good in defence, close to the breakdown. I'd like to see Scotland trying to move it a little bit wider, get a little bit further out. There we see Nathan Hines coming back inside, and the Eagles very strong in defence there, putting good tackles in. The penalty was actually for an earlier offside offence.
Should be a simple 3 points for Patterson, and is. Resounding applause. Vast contingent of Scotland supporters here. And so, with just 4 minutes played, they're on the board.
Just keep pushing number 3 back.
Well, you're right. I went for a run in Botanical Gardens, and there were Scots all over the place.
Just keep pushing number 3 back at the run.
You scattered them all with your pace, yeah?
I don't think I quite did that, Nigel, no.
There has, of course, been the big story going around, hasn't there, locally anyway, about the bagpipes not being allowed in the stadium, but I think we've seen one, haven't we? But it was a story in the local paper. I think they may have been building something up, and since we've seen some in the stadium, it may all be one of those little chit-chats.
Well, I think there was a threat that there might have been a pipe banned, and the IRB said that would give an unfair advantage to Scotland. So they banned it in the same way that they banned the tartan and the kilt after the 1745 rebellion.
I love the remark of the guy from the pipe band who said, I don't really see the bagpipe as an offensive weapon. Mind you, it does depend who's playing it. But you're a pipe-playing family, so we'll say no more about that. Here's Gregor Townsend, meanwhile. Good clearance, under pressure. He did well. There's a man of vast experience, the 30-year-old.
A bit of an overthrow there.
Just inside the Scotland half. Dan Lyle is the number 8 there. They're using that huge jump there by Alec Parker. Well, a bit of, obviously, assist. Hercus. Good inside feed. David Hodges is the captain. Lovely pick up by Hercus.
Well, they kicked an awful lot against the Fijians. One kick by Hercus led to the US try, but I think they might, at least in the early stages, try and run the ball a little bit more. They have plenty of width there. They've got plenty of pace.
Bringing the changes at that, quite a complicated routine here, and it perhaps was overcomplicated. Well, with the talent they've got in line-out ability, why be quite so complicated? Hercus inside, powerful prop is Dan Dorsey. This is a very rugged, determined-looking USA side. Hercus. Defence was good then. It was a Petrie with an important tackle, but it's still USA. Driving close is Kasigian, the prop, hooker rather. Hercus lays it off to Lyle. It's going to be a penalty here to the United States.
Head formed. There was contact, but head formed. Back 10, please.
Simon Taylor came up with the ball. I think he thought that the ball had come out. The referee saying that no, the ruck had formed, and he came in from an offside position.
Impressive build-up with the United States here.
Well, there's the penalty. I guess Simon Taylor feeling that there wasn't a ruck in place. I'm not sure. Well, I wouldn't be inclined to agree with him.
164 points. Mike Hercus, who's played out here. Well, he's also had experience even with the New South Wales Warriors. Australia under 19, under 21. 2 penalties conversion against Fiji. This, well, it's not such a thing as a soft kick in the World Cup, but as easy as they come, the booze we could do without. Far from putting kickers off, I think it actually enhances their concentration. 3-3 it stands. 8.5 minutes of the first half, and about right.
Yes, I think the boos are indicative of where the loyalties of this crowd lie, but it's not particularly sportsmanlike behaviour.
Gregor Townsend, cap number 79 for him. Some nippy little runners out wide, but again, sensibly they used Hercus.
Now the Scots really need to tidy up the line out. They've delivered some very untidy ball to Mike Blair. They've overthrown one, they've lost one. And as you say, they've got plenty of height. They have this tendency to sometimes overcomplicate things with a lot of movement.
Well, it's quite a routine that. But that's worked better. Popped out now to Townsend. Big drive. Switch to Townsend again. Full back Metcalf up in the line. That's good support play now. They can deliver. Short side. Care it was taking them on. It's thrown forward and lost. Oh, charged down, but that's going to rebound well beyond the dead ball line. So they'll come back for the throw forward that preceded it.
Well, that's very frustrating for the Scots. Ball retention not good there, losing the ball forward in the tackle. Just ripped out of Gavin Kerr's arms. The US get the scrum.
Wheeled round, but fed with Dalzell under pressure. Real pressure. Good hounding. I think Blair got round first. So Tom Smith acting as link. Man outside on the overlap. 2 wingers together. Poor pass. Opportunity gifted away.
Strike down 13.
And now to add insult to injury. Player coming up, which was Andy Craig, not staying on his feet, went in, almost fell over the top.
Well, you said it, an opportunity gifted. First a poor pass and then conceding a penalty. Plenty of time yet. Scots just need to be patient, try not to overcomplicate things. Games aren't won in the first 20 minutes, they're often won in the last 20 minutes.
Well, there's a little bit of indiscipline by Scotland again. The referee not happy with the gaps in the line and gave the free kick to the USA. Back into the box, Daniele is there. Bundled out by Rian van Zyl.
Well, good kick and good pressure. Nice wide kick.
And touch judge on the far side is coming over.
Just wonder whether Ross Beattie's going to be picked up for the late tackle there.
Yes, I think so. Andy Turner on the far side.
What off, please?
Jonathan Kaplan.
Number 6, late tackle.
Water off.
Penalties here.
Beattie's late tackle, it's a penalty to the USA, and of course that is only about 25 metres out. And there's a bit of back chat. Well, it won't affect the kick significantly, of course, but Gordon Bullock, the captain, is
Listen, there's far too many guys talking. I don't have to tell you to get on sides of the line out. You guys should know it.
Here he was facing
Yeah, he must stand on sides. It's happened 3 line-outs now. Okay, just speak to the guys at number 6. If I give a decision, that's it.
Well, you heard the instructions given to Gordon Bullock. Tell your flanker, Ross Beattie, that is. Just keep the discipline, really. And not argue about it.
It's daft. Really daft. Here's the late challenge. He was committed to it, but he possibly could have called pulled up from it. But indiscipline, like talking back to the referee, is just unforgivable.
He's a 24-year-old. High hopes for this man in the USA. Comes from Belmont Shore, the club champions last year. 24-year-old Mike Hercus can give the USA the lead. The boos do not affect him one jot. Best riposte possible, of course, and we did suggest it might be an evening with some discomfort in it. It's early in the game, and proving that way thus far. It's 13 minutes played, and it's the USA 6, Scotland 3.
Yes, and it's really come from indiscipline. It's a 70-metre penalty, that one. Scotland conceding a penalty on the attack, and then indiscipline at their own end.
Drive forward by Dan Lyle. 33 now, Dan Lyle. Captained the side for 5 seasons before relinquishing it to his fellow back row, David Hodges. Defence sound. Coached by Tom Billups. One of the great names of front row play in US Rugby, 44 caps. Be pleased with the side so far. Anderson up the middle. And not quite sure what Scotland are trying to do at this point. Midfield on the 10-metre line. Townsend. Beattie. Little chip through meant for Patterson, too strong.
Not a bad idea by Mike Blair. Scotland coming up against a very physical and robust defence, and they need to be a little bit more creative in terms of getting in behind the game line. They're not actually breaking the game line close to the ruck and maul. They need to move it out a little bit wider, perhaps try a chip over the top, and just begin to turn the Eagles.
Hold up with an injury to one of the USA's key players, Dan Lyle, who, like several who've come through to the top ranks of rugby union in the States, was a former gridiron player. Took a big hit, he says, and he's been through a few in his time.
Well, they certainly won't want to lose him at this stage in the game. So much experience, spent a lot of time down at Bath.
Clearly something to do with his neck, upper part of the shoulder. At any rate, just a little concern there. Don't forget, of course, we have throughout this World Cup superb website we're running, www.itv.com/RWC. Have a look at it. A quarter of an hour into this first half here in the Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane, and Scotland in some trouble. Early, that is. It's a long game ahead, but 6-3 down, and USA playing well.
Perhaps a little bit lucky not to be penalised for pulling down the USA jumper there. I think Court Schubert was the catcher.
Knocked down by Hines. Blair trying to float it over the top. It falls well with Henderson. Now the chase. It's a good one by Patterson. Patterson in the race. Van Zyl is back. He's quick too.
Quick ball off the top, and this time getting in behind the defence. A little bit untidy there, but Chris Patterson, great kick through. Fantastic cover.
So it's a 5-metre scrum. Scotland's ball. Now, can they make something from here? It's Blair at the base. Townsend. The loop round Henderson again. The cover is in from Paul Emerick. For a moment I thought it was going to open up. It still could here in the 22 again. Right this time. Townsend has a go himself and caught in defence but still recycled. Here's Tom Smith. Front of the post. Still in Scotland hands. Henderson. And again the little chip through, the cover comes in. This time it was Hackers across the fly half, right on the USA line. The Eagles escape. Dalzell clears.
Well, Scott's beginning to get in behind, beginning to put a little bit more pressure through, but it's coming through chip kicks like that from Andy Henderson. Again, good cover by Mike Hercus, saving the day for the Eagles.
Flag is still up from the touch judge. Line out awaits shoe tying of Alec Parker. Big second row forward from plays for a delightfully named club called the Gentlemen of Aspen, who were last year's USA League champions. The link man is Hines.
Leaving the line out. No, leaving the line out before it's over.
Leaving the line
Sit in there
out
and
before
you're
it's
leaving
over.
the line out. There's two of you. And you're on the 15 in field.
Well, we've seen that penalty a few times in this World Cup. I don't know whether referees are intentionally looking to penalise this. It's quite a technical offence where players leave the line out and move beyond the 15-metre line before the line out is over.
Decisions that aren't proving too popular with the crowd, who I think by and large are in support of Scotland. Again, the referee is wanting Scotland to give a little bit, give blue. Noise of the Mexican wave doesn't help communication, of course. Finally there's a gap. Seguin to throw for the USA. Well, their little complicated routine didn't work so well for them either. Blair didn't think he was quite expecting it. This is Simon Taylor, player of the season over the last year. Blair again, picked up off the deck by Townsend. Not really with the injection of pace, but there's a bit now. And here comes Scotland with Daniele. Daniele goes, he's round there to score it. Good run by the young winger. So a try in the opening game, followed up with a great bit of finishing here in Brisbane.
Yes, a terrific incursion by Simon Daniele, but the hard work was done by Ross Beattie. Scotland actually stealing this line out. It was a little bit untidy. As he said, Mike Blair wasn't aware that the ball was out there, but here's Ross Beattie, he takes it up. That's a little bit of a hint of a forward pass, you don't see it from that angle, but Simon Daniele, he's very strong, he's very pacey, and he just outstrips the defence to go over.
So the 24-year-old came through the ranks of England junior sides, 18 and 21, and then an Oxford Blue, and now to Bath this coming season, and a superb piece of rounding off. Classic wing three-quarter try that. So that's put Scotland in good heart, and so too the conversion. Patterson, very important points there. Ten points to 6. And we've played just over the first quarter of the match. moves fast, but they're offside, particularly David Hodges. And I think Alexander as well. Just as well.
Yes, it was very untidy from Mike Blair there. I just wonder whether the occasion is getting to him a little bit, and we're certainly not seeing the full potential of this player. At least not at the moment.
Came through Edinburgh, his club, Scottish Institute of Sport, Scotland A, Scotland Sevens, and an inevitability about his first cap against Canada last year, but well, he won't want to see this replay particularly, but you can see the offside more to the point. Good work by Stuart Grimes. Sounds as though someone's shouting Detroit all the time, which I guess would be called an American.
Advantage, number 3, from the side, 3 white, from the side.
Coming in the side, Dan Dorsey, American, penalised.
Scotland trying to set up the driving wall that was so effective for Ireland against Namibia last night. A potent attacking weapon from an English perspective as well. A little bit untidy. Nevertheless winning the penalty. Dan Dorsey, the offender, coming in from the side.
Adding injury to insult this time. There he is, the miscreant. Got a bang as well as Stuart Grimes went down. Lion's share of possession for Scotland, not by a vast amount, but at least now the scoreline reflects their superiority.
Well, interesting statistic on our monitor here. It says Scotland spent 6 minutes in their opponent's 22 so far, and they've only come away with 10 points.
They have it now. Touch of the Neil backs there, but it's going to be knocked on, and maybe some little nervousness here as Bullock fed back to Blair.
It was untidy delivery.
It was. Understudy, highly promising talent is Blair, understudy to Redpath, the captain. Some I know would say, well, maybe his time's come already, but this is a whole new learning experience perhaps.
Well, these are must-win games as well. You can't afford to slip up in a pool match against the USA.
Indeed not. Nicholas, quarter-finalists last time, semi-finalists in 91. Townsend. Now, good chance here. They can work it well. Spin it wide. Cutting back. Daniele again. Well, he's got the magic touch tonight.
Well, again, terrific work by the Bath winger, but that time the Scottish backs had spread so wide to the left field. There was a massive gap on the inside. It wasn't from that particular phase of play. They had a good line up there, but Gregor Townsend made the initial incursion. Great strength by Daniele again, taking a couple of defenders over. Paul Emmerich.
Very orthodox still then, and then he just takes that little change of angle, which momentarily bemused the defenders of the Eagles. And he had the power, of course, and the weight to take it right the way through.
And he was one player who performed very well in the warm-up internationals before Scotland came out to Australia. Scored tries and pressed even in defeat.
Of course, only winning his first cap this very year. It's another hanging kick. It's another brilliant effort. Chris Patterson's got the right boots on tonight. At last, a comforting gap opens up for Scotland. 11 points the advantage. We've played 25.5 minutes.
Yes, and that will give them some comfort. Perhaps give them a little bit more confidence to spread the ball wider a little bit more often.
Well, it's only his fourth cap tonight, Simon Daniele, and he's now got 4 tries. He scored a try against Italy on his debut. That was earlier this year. And as recently as August, that debut match for Daniele. 4 caps, 4 tries. He'd like to keep that one going a bit, wouldn't he?
That's certainly not a bad return.
Former Cheltenham College schoolboy. So maybe the confidence which seemed to be lacking here for Scotland is fully restored. Dan Lyle calling the shots from way back. It's the delay on the throw-in. A little indiscipline now, a little sign of early panic maybe from the USA Eagles. They've been penalised for that delay.
Well, Scotland posting Simon Taylor at the front of the line-out, and he's a big fella, and it can be quite intimidating from a hooker's perspective, because he knows he has to throw it over someone who's 6'5" tall.
Magnificent touchline kick from Gregor Townsend. Well, that must bring joy to the hearts of the Scotland pack.
There's no signs of any knee injury troubling Gregor at all.
Good point. No, none at all. Now in the Borders squad, of course, having had a successful time with clubs in France. Had a season out here in Australia too, Gregor, with the Warringahs. Upended is Mike McDonald, one of those 19 stoners in the USA front row. BT doing the hard work, close quarters. Hercus checks onto his left foot, doesn't make touch. Mike Blair, safe catch. Daniele, little buzz in the crowd, a big buzz even, but no way that time. Laid back though, still possession Scotland. Knock on, was it? Just little nudge, no more.
Yes, Mike Blair couldn't get that one away quick enough.
Nasty ball for a scrum half. Every sympathy from me.
Listen, could you like wait for me a signal first? You're like rushing on. Just let me signal first.
On come the water carriers.
Yep.
As there's another little injury trouble with this time McDonald. First capped as a 19-year-old at prop, and that's a pretty remarkable thing in itself, isn't it, David? Don't get them youngsters, teenagers playing international rugby at prop forward.
They say prop forwards come into their prime at about my sort of age.
Right, about now.
Well, certainly they used to.
About now, I'd say. You're in your prime.
And there's an element of ballast around.
Well, clearly these days it's required. I mean, you've got a 19 stone and a 19 stone 7 USA prop, which makes the sort of Tom Smiths and Gavin Curls of this world a little more modest seeming.
Yes, but even those fellas, they're so fit, so athletic.
Like you, they have no ounce of spare flesh. You were running through the park and everyone was admiring you in your tight-fitting cling film shirt. Here comes Dan Lyle. Hercus dummies with Cross. Hercus trying to keep it in USA hands. Dalzell into the box on the full.
Well, it wasn't a bad idea. Simon Daniele up flat. A little bit misdirected.
4-man this time. All change. Comes up with BT at the front. Ball under pressure by Stuart Grimes at the back. Craig. Big men in the middle there, Scotland have. Slipped on by BT. Breakdown, turnover, Scotland, USA have a chance here with Cross. Lots of men outside. This is one of the biggest though, David Hodges, the captain. 17 stone, former gridiron linebacker. There's a knock-on way back.
Well, the USA really not able to capitalise on that turnover. They were just a little bit flat, no pace, not able to put any pace on the ball.
I think that's one of the key differences we're seeing, isn't it? The Scotland back row, particularly in contrast to the USA flankers, they just aren't in the game in terms of speed over the park.
I think the other thing which has been interesting is Andy Henderson is really coming into this game. He's had a couple of very physical breaks, and interesting to see whether he'll be able to play himself into the side for Saturday.
Yes, he having his debut here in the World Cup. We've got another injury stoppage, and it's the captain, David Hodges. Of course, well known in Scarlet country, member of the Netherlands Scarlets, and there was, I think I'm right in saying, their player of the year last year. Looks as though Hodges is going to have to go, and so on comes Yuri Hos, 30-year-old from Santa Monica, and that's cruel luck, isn't it, for the USA's captain. It may be a cut. I guess I have a feeling it's more than just a blood injury replacement, but they'll have a look. He's certainly going into the blood bin to start with, but they're playing on actually, and he's still very much in the field of play and could be a bit tricky here. They're having to run away. Hodges, poor guy, is forced to retreat smartish with the play almost surrounding him. USA in possession then again. Herkus sliced badly, but there's offside. No, it's not released, is it? It's against Scotland.
7 blue, yes.
What me? Says Petrie. Oh, I see.
Well, they need to make more of what little possession they're getting, the Eagles. Kicking it away aimlessly. Need to retain it, need to control it.
If you just joined us here in Brisbane, we're live at the Suncorp Stadium. Well, every game's important, but Scotland know they really wanted to win this one, win it well, try and get a bonus point out of it too, as they face up next to France and Fiji in this group. And they're leading now 17 points to 6, with a brace of tries by Simon Danieli, giving them a bit of a comfort zone. But the USA don't count them out. Dan Lyle spins, pirouettes, sets it up. Dalzell, Herkus, big tackle from Petrie. Fed out by Dorsey. Philip Eloff, one of the Chicago-based players, most of them of course on the West Coast, California. An advantage here, Herkus couldn't hold it, none will come, it'll be a Scotland put into the scrum.
Well, they really aren't making the most of their possession. Good drive up the line out there, but that time Mike Herkus, it wasn't a great pass.
Scotland's ball with Michael Blair, channeled well for him. To clear, Townsend. It's a very refined boot.
Well, a lot of fly halves in this World Cup kicking end over end to touch rather than torpedo, but Townsend certainly seems to have mastered the art of the torpedo kick. He's put in some absolute crackers this evening.
Nothing a pack of forwards prefers to see than a 50-metre touch find. USA drive back through Alec Parker, Dalzell, Herkus. Dummies to the man inside. He's promptly felled by Simon Taylor, but entirely understandable. Now it's little Kevin Kane Cross, one of the shortest men in the tournament, 5'7". Little centre there, number 12 for USA.
Advantage.
But
Crossing, yeah, that's crossing.
bit of crossing.
Well, the US not looking at all convincing in the midfield. It's all very, very cramped. They're all trying to run up the same channel. Whereas Scotland's and some of the other better sides in this competition are using the width of the field far more effectively.
There's a man who's played the last 23 games consecutively for Scotland. Well, he will be in a moment. This is just a replay. It's Chris Patterson who's going to try again to add points for Scotland. An early penalty. 2 conversions, no misses. Kicked 2 wonderful conversions from wide out. Not quite, just right of the upright. We learned that Dave Hodges is down in the tunnel with the Canadian doctor. It's a nasal injury. Top of his nose, I think he's on the bridge there, and still uncertain, about 50-50, says the doctor, as to whether he'll be able to return. So after the penalty miss, not by much, it's Metcalf this time. He can run. Almost away. Did well. Made it available through the tackle. Metcalf. Now Townsend. Inside. Gets a return pass, but snared. Metcalf. Well involved there. Perkus under pressure. It's not found touch. Here's Patterson again. Tom Smith, short side. Patterson. Was it knocked on? Yes. Possession lost. Pity for Scotland. Touch safe this time. Well, real chances there for Scotland. They'll be looking, of course, not just to win, as we said earlier. They want 4 tries and a bonus point, of course.
Yes, and that time, John Peachey, I think it was, up on the left wing, making the incursion, and then Simon Taylor knocking on. John Peachey's had an impressive game. Open side flanker, a bit of a problem area for Scotland now that Andrew Moore is out of this competition.
Once again, Townsend. And Henderson has been a very significant physical presence. And the same again, it's lost in the tackle. And advantage played with Emmerich. Emmerich, the fullback for the USA. No one close enough to him, just one prop lumbering up. But too late, Mike McDonald. Possession retained though. Dalzell down the line, maybe overcooking it. Wonderful.
Well, I think the US players beginning to feel the pace of this game a little bit. 3 or 4 minutes to go to half-time, and they're looking quite weary. The Scottish side is extremely fit.
Fittest ever, says Ian McGeechan. They've had a very successful training camp out here at Camp Wallaby, as it was called, the old Wallabies training camp under Rod McQueen those days. Here comes Metcalf. I think it was accidental, he was caught high, but Blair did well then, adjusted the kick to put it low. He was about to be charged down, that went backwards. That did too. It's going to be a score. Gavin Kerr following through. That's good pace. It's going to be a replay on the television screen to adjudicate, but great pace from Gavin Kerr, the Leeds prop. This would be his first try for Scotland. Not a bad time to score it.
Well, he did extremely well. Not only did he charge it down, but he outstripped a winger, and that's...
The crowd have made up their minds.
Looks pretty good to me. I think downward pressure on that one.
I think so. I think so. Well, we've said it many a time. I'm never quite sure whether these slow motion replays and the television monitor decisions actually help in the decision-making process. Is that it can be a glancing downward pressure, okay. David?
Got you?
Well, I think that's what they're checking out. Was it firm downward pressure?
3. Yep. Okay. Can I go?
He's got it. Well played, Gavin Kerr. That really was a memorable prop forward effort. Good time to score. Sorry, David. Just before half-time, of course, adds to its significance. It's a nice stretch ahead now. 22 points to 6 with 2.5 minutes to go. And 2 more points on offer here. No miss from Chris Patterson. 24-6, looking healthier now.
Well, I think any try by prop forward is a memorable prop forward effort. He did very well to get up and put pressure on Emmerich, and then he outstripped the pace of a winger. Just.
Well, interesting, isn't it? Because we were talking about the fitness levels and how Ian McGeechan was extolling the virtues of this side and this squad, which has taken them obviously to Poland and cryotherapy, the Olympic training camp there for 9 days, and then all that hot weather training in Edinburgh's Royal Botanic Gardens, and then the build-up through during this World Cup tour at Caloundra with the Wallaby camp. paying off, David.
Yes, it certainly is. And I think it'll possibly enable the Scots to capitalise on things once we get into the last quarter. It's still very warm here in Brisbane.
Yes, it's a humid evening. And pleased to say, we were well advised from the tunnel that Hodges might come back on, and indeed he now has. So the USA captain restored. And back in the action. Hercus. Robust defence from Scotland. There's an advantage coming the USA's way if they need it. An offside against Beattie. Fenzale blocked by Taylor. They'll come all the way back for the penalty. Ross Beattie just offside.
At the initial ruck and number 10.
Oh, it's changed. It said 6 earlier. It's now said Smith and Townsend. Oh, yes, I see. He's got 3 to choose from. It's now added in Beattie for good measure.
But after a little bit of a shaky start, Scotland have really got far more shape about their game. They're playing with far more confidence than they did against the Japanese, and they're defending tremendously well in the midfield. Ross Beattie, John Petrie, Andy Henderson, all up very, very quickly on this Eagles midfield attack.
That has been a real feature. That Scotland will be wanting, and I think fairly content to go in at half-time 24-6. They've only got a matter of seconds. USA are taking their time here. I don't think they realise how soon it is to half-time. This will undoubtedly be the last play of the half. Stoppage time is always included here. They have it. Dalzell. The challenge of Eloff. He's tackled 5 metres out. Dalzell. There's a bit of a wrestling match going on near side. Inside from Hercus to McDonald. They're still short of the line, and there are 2 players still in pitch battle below me. Let's watch for the try. It may come right on the Scotland line. There's the ball. It's going to be turned over, I think, by Scotland. Now then,
One come here.
there's going to be some trouble, I think. Mike McDonald is being called over, and is that Tom Smith marching as well towards him?
They're playing
Yes,
the ball
it is.
in the red zone there.
It's a yellow card for Tom Smith.
Number 1, hands up the ruck.
This is the brawl.
Penalty here is for offside.
Well, he was playing the ball in the ruck there. It's consistent at re-offending by Scotland. He's been just a little bit indisciplined this afternoon, evening. Given away a couple of penalties.
So, hands in the ruck. Well, we had the touch judge on this near side separating the warring factions. That seems to have been sort of ignored as play continued there, but this is going to be 3 points back. So nearly a try conceded, but Scotland did well to keep them out. So here's Hercus. Head on to the post. It'll be the last play of this first half. 24-6 to Scotland. Hercus with the 2 penalties. Make it 3. 24 points to 9 here in the Suncorp Stadium, and after a rather diffident start, it's Scotland who really have put their game together, and in Brisbane the half-time score is 24 points to 9. Scotland lead the USA.
British Lion Tom Smith is in the sin bin, and here is why. Nigel, just explain it to us.
Well, you can see it quite clearly now. Tom Smith, number 1. The ball goes to ground, is involved in the tackle. When the ball goes to ground, it becomes a ruck. When it's a ruck, you can't handle the ball when it's on the floor. In comes his hand, he scoops it back. You'll see it pop back down. And that stops USA having possession. It stops them scoring a try. 3 points to USA and no try.
Thanks very much indeed for that. That means a bit of reorganisation for the Scotland pack. Let us rejoin David Soul and Nigel Starmer-Smith.
Yeah, they're going to be 1 short. Welcome back here to the Suncorp Stadium. Tom Smith on the dreaded chair off the field. Well, his players only missed 4 internationals since 1999. He'll resent even these 10 minutes, David Sol, won't he? That does cause a little problem, bit of initiative to USA.
Yes, it does, and clearly when a scrum is awarded, they'll have to do a bit of a reshuffle, probably take one of the back row players off so they can bring a front row forward on. Bruce Douglas warming up on the touchline.
So the restart from Mike Hercus. The USA then have this period of time perhaps to make some sort of comeback, but Scotland looking better by the minute in the first half. Nathan Hines, good tidying up work there, settles it well. Mike Blair from the base, and had a patchy first half. Of course, has the squad captain to think about as well.
Well, Mike Blair, a Scottish Institute of Sport athlete, as is Andy Henderson, coming through the Institute of Sport where they get special training regimes and special preparation, coaching. Very important.
USA ball, Dan Lyle. Now from Dalzell, direct to centre Philip Eloff. Early try would stir things up a little. It won't happen like that. It's between the devil and the Duke Lucy. Fly half and trot forward. Cover is good from Emmerich, and Hercus has covered back well himself and sets up on the counter. Snaffled. Taylor was up there quickly. Still USA ball. Tackled by Townsend. 14-man, remember, Scotland. This is Eloff once more. The winger is Rian van Zyl. He's very, very quick. Hasn't really had a smell of a chance yet. Out of the way, says the referee, as Van Zyl legally was obstructed.
Well, certainly with one man down, Scotland want to take their time at set pieces, just get themselves organised, get settled.
They are taking their time, sensible enough. Taylor, and line out not clean. So here comes the replacement, and that is Bruce Douglas, as Ross Beattie retires. Of course, this was how it will be until Tom Smith served his time. If you've just joined us, 24-9 here, Scotland leading the USA. We've got an injury to USA.
Yeah, okay. I told him to sit down for him.
So a little centre, Kane Cross.
Here we go.
Well, he's comparatively speaking local man. He was born in Dubbo. Kane Cross here, one of the certainly the shortest three-quarter in the whole tournament. Played rugby league out here in northern suburbs, Perth Reds.
Wonderful zoo in Dubbo.
Really?
Yep. I was there with the Lions in '89. I was actually...
What do you mean, inside the cage?
with the British Lions, Nigel.
British and Irish Lions,
British
David.
and Irish. How many more weeks have we got together?
I can't think.
I can't wait.
So, back to the action. Or lack of for Kane Cross. Sadly injured. One of the more talented players, and it's a familiar figure from back home in many days. 11 seasons did Jason Cater have with Harlequins. And now with Rotherham, the 29-year-old is here representing the USA. So Jason Cater, his grandfather came from Wisconsin, so it's perfectly legitimate. And of course, very much a figure on the London scene all those years.
Well, interesting penalty from the referee. Why Scotland would want to collapse a scrum when they've won the ball's at number 8's feet, I don't understand. I think if I was the man with the whistle, I'd reset it and get them to scrummage again rather than to ping them straight away.
So Hercus can close that gap a little bit here. Here's the supposedly Scottish offence, as determined by the referee. How did you view that? I mean, you know all about these sort of mysterious goings-on in the front row.
Well, sometimes I never knew who was taking the thing down from time to time, but certainly Scotland got a little bit of a nudge on Gavin Kerr's side. He just went to deck and said they'd won the ball. It was at Simon Taylor's feet.
3 points on offer then for this man, the 24-year-old from Belmont Shore Club. Well, he may be a former Australian under-21 international. He's not the world's most popular man around here. A lot of Scottish support, of course. Struck it well. Is it straight enough? Almost. Oh, and that was a gift for Eloff. He's knocked it on. They're cheering madly, the USA supporters. Well, did he knock it on?
Knock on. Just 1 sec.
Is it a knock-on? I saw it as a knock-on, David. It's a television replay to determine whether Eloff has scored or not. That rebound off the post.
Could you tell me if there was a knock-on, as reported by the touch judge, in the act of scoring?
Well, the touch judge, as usual, said so.
Before our set to scrum.
He said that there is a knock-on, the touch judge, and it's just a case of Jonathan Kaplan wanting confirmation. That's how I saw it.
Well, he's suggesting that. Well, for me, that was the knock-on. He said, was there a knock-on in the act of scoring? Well,
the first one came off the leg, didn't it?
Well,
I thought it touched his hand initially,
just go back, please.
and then the leg.
Just go back.
yeah, I agree with you. And clearly that was a knock-on from
That's
my
what I
perspective.
thought. That's
the ball
what I saw.
wasn't in control, so they should be going back to
Here.
the scrum there. There it
Now
goes.
that's off his hand. And I'm sure I saw it go forward from that initially. Now here, he doesn't appear to be under control, and the two have pushed it forward as well.
I would say there's two knock-ons there.
I think so.
But
Why do we get all the tricky replays, David? I mean, it's extraordinary, the whole sequence we've had. His consultation then with Kelvin Deeker, who's had a busy time in this tournament so far. This is Jonathan Kaplan. So it is a knock-on. Well, why don't they have the confidence of their own conviction?
well, the extraordinary thing for me for that was the knock-on, the first knock-on. He was actually given the scrum for the knock-on over the line.
Yeah. Well, he only just said, he didn't say first or second knock-on, he just said it was a knock-on. So anyway, no try. Unlucky in a way, but Eloff really should have had no question about that. He should have taken it first time. Over anxious, overexcited. Saw the possibility of the rebound off the post. Could be an important moment in this contest, knowing how well the USA contested with Fiji, came back to almost pip them at the post. And Scotland know, of course, even from that moment just now, they cannot sit back. On the 22, USA's throw, knocked down by big man Luke Gross. 6'9" he is, tallest in the World Cup. In the second row for the USA, but it's not clean line-out ball.
On your feet, back 10.
And it's Scotland have been penalised for playing the ball on the ground. Gavin Kerr picked out.
Well, I think they might go for touch. With one man down in the pack, they might go for a catch and drive at the line-out.
There's Tom Smith sitting way down below us on the touchline on the designated chair for the yellow carder. It's a big USA pack. They'll try to capitalise from this throw in here, which they have 5 metres from Scotland's line. We're just 6 minutes into this second half. Could this spark a resurgence or not? There's the wedge forming. And the drive. They're held up. It's coming out. And it's been turned over, and it's going to be a penalty. A penalty against Scotland.
Come here, please.
Well, I think he's going to send someone else to the bin.
Captain.
Well,
There's
there's
again. This is a warning
Simon
for the whole
Taylor
team.
called
A
across.
breakdown. If I call leave it, that is it. Okay? That is it. He held the ball on. That's why I knocked it on.
Simon Taylor has got away with it in the sense, as Gordon Bullock was said, get your players to respond to what I say. When I say leave it, I mean it. So it's another penalty. Whew.
pressure situation for Scotland here. Interestingly, the United States not trusting the scrum, 8 against 7, going for the line out instead.
Yes, that's an interesting call. Parker with the catch. Now they go for the drive. Now then, can they keep it up? Going sideways here. Manful defence from Scotland, 7. Now they're held up. USA have to move it. Herkus switches with Eloff, looking to make amends for the miss. But he hasn't. He's knocked it on himself again.
Well, good Scottish defence there. Very quickly up in the midfield, putting pressure on Herkus.
And holding, David, that initial surge by the extra man USA pack. Chance to clear. Townsend. Yeah, that's safe and secure.
Important passage of play this, 10 minutes after half-time. Scotland down to 14 men. Here's the great pressure in the midfield. Gregor Townsend up very quickly, just gets an arm,
That's what it
forces
was.
the knock-on.
It was, wasn't it? The glancing arm that actually helped dispossess Eloff. And we've still got Tom Smith sitting down below. Well, the USA have not taken any advantage really in terms of points from this absence of the pillar of society.
Okay.
Tom Smith. There's Dan Lyle, the number 8. Michael Blair, taller than the most international scrum halves, just a fraction under 6 feet.
Get out, Scrummy, get out! Scrummy, out! Obstruction, back. Obstruction, 9.
Obstruction given against Blair, in fact, on Dalzell. He did shout at him, and he was saying scrummy. I'm not sure that Blair would have known who he was shouting at.
No, I'd agree with that. Blair taking his time going round for that ball. Dalzell trying to put pressure on.
It's an unusual penalty, that. You know, I mean, at what point does a scrum half have to move away or move with the ball? Let's see here, look.
Well, actually, Dalzell could have stepped
He could have
in
got
behind
round.
him.
He could have got round him. I think that's very harsh. I mean, the scrum half will follow and keep his hands on his own scrum and follow the ball back. I don't know. Well, further chance for the USA to get points. 10 minutes into the second half. Could get within 12 points if this goes over. 3 penalties already by Herkus. Couldn't have been closer than the last one, which rebounded off the upright, nearly produced the try. The cheering's all about the wave thing that does continue to go around sports stadia. Herkus. This time, spot on. Well, credit to him. A lot of noise going around, but these days, like conductors of orchestras, they switch off the ancillary noises, and he concentrated and put it between the posts, and we're ready for Tom Smith's return. And so Douglas retires, and Beattie comes back with him. And Jonathan Kaplan is asking to have an extra special word with Tom Smith to congratulate him on his return, do you think? Just a reminder, of course.
For offsides and for hands in over there, I won't be speaking to you again.
So he's saying, you know, repeat the same offences and you're off, mate.
Well, that's right.
Quite
Certainly
stern.
they wouldn't want Tom Smith to get a red card with a very important match coming up on Saturday.
Heaven forbid. But he certainly wasn't just saying, yes, welcome back, was he? Quite stern, Jonathan Kaplan there, in that remark to Tom Smith. Not known for his misdemeanours, is he, Tom?
No, absolutely not. He had a quiet game against the Japanese.
Now we've got an injury.
Tom.
And this time it's the captain of the day, Gordon Bullock. Oh, it's not. It's John Petrie.
John Petrie, I think. Now that would be serious, because the Scots don't have a great deal of cover from an open side perspective. Andrew Moore went under the knife to have an operation on his damaged knee, I think, a couple of days ago. John Petrie's filled in very effectively this evening.
He has.
Martin Leslie on the bench.
Well, just a few little stretchers, and his back seems to be in better shape now. He's fit to resume. Blair, Townsend. Now, full-back incursion just outside Danieli here, but Danieli may have been tempted to pass that one on, I'd have thought, but didn't. But the Packer there. Oh, this is Smith. Well, he's had a little break. This is Blair, not in touch. Can it stay in hand? Just knocked forward. Well, some clever little touches amongst that sequence. And someone's gone down injured.
Yeah,
the Americans. Yes,
Alec Parker, I think.
Parker, yeah.
Jordan, just come in.
But they did extremely well in a very, very tight channel there.
There's been more or less 13 or 14 penalties against you guys for a number of different things, particularly at the
Jonathan Kaplan is really dressing down Gordon Bullock and his team here.
Well, there's the break by Tom Smith, does extremely well. Mike Blair, hardly any room to work in, gets a lovely lofted pass back to Simon Taylor, and that's where the ball goes forward. Andy Craig couldn't quite catch it.
Signs that Jonathan Kaplan is losing patience with the whole of the Scottish pack, in the way that he talked to Gordon Bullock then, saying, you know, I'm fed up with these repeated infringements. It's just will not do, and clearly yellow cards are in the offing for any misdemeanor of any dimension, I think. Quite strong words.
Yes, they were, and uncharacteristic. Normally the Scottish pack really very disciplined.
Surely. Another point I'd make, David, is I haven't been aware of it. I mean, it hasn't stood out, has it? Meanwhile, Metcalf from fullback getting the feed from Patterson. Nice pick up by Blair. Not so clever from Henderson, but it was a bit of a sharp pass. Andrew Henderson, another of the young brigade, the 23-year-old, made some big impacts, some good defence in this game. Bit unlucky there, it did come rather too hard to him on the burst.
Yeah, I think Mike Blair was expecting to take a wider angle.
It's not looking so good for John Petrie though on this near side. And he's going off. Clearly that back, I think it's that same back trouble. It looked like back trouble. So here's Martin Leslie to come on. But this is worrying for Scotland. In the light, of course, of what's ahead. I mean by that, France and Fiji in their next two pool matches.
Yes, I don't think there's any point in risking John Petrie anymore. Take him off and give him as much recovery time as he possibly afford.
25th of October is only 5 days away. That's when Scotland meet France in that, well, it should be a great struggle indeed. This is good running from Metcalf. 3, 4, and then a big hit by someone in white. Townsend. Bit of hesitation there. Oh, that was living dangerously, but it's worked out all right. Scotland carry it on. There's the switch inside via Simon Taylor. The pass coming from Andy Craig. Tom Smith, not known for his art in kicking, but they've done well. It didn't... oh, it's broken down, though, into the hands of David Fee, the winger for USA. One way, then t'other. Hair 'em, scare 'em for a minute.
Yes, it was a little bit, and Scotland perhaps would have been a little bit better advised to have shifted it wide. They had a very long wide up out to the right. There's Tom Smith, he gets his kick charge down. Well recovered by Nathan Hines, and then Mike Blair tries to get a pass away, which is intercepted by David Fee.
Now that's the problem. Here's Dorsey, Dan Dorsey being attended to. There's another American also down, and so replacement will come on, and I can see House coming on wearing 18.
Yes, I think it's Alec Parker with a blood injury. Chris Patterson drifting just outside Gregor Townsend.
Just get your binding right on the touch, Judge, on the outside. Sorry, on the inside. Crouch and hold.
22-year-old Mike Blair. Understudied red path on the South contour.
Let's go again.
Scrummage, a bit of a mess that time. Wasn't, of course, a great run into this World Cup in terms of the latest internationals for Scotland, losing to Ireland and Wales, but they did get very close to South Africa in Johannesburg and Durban earlier in the year, and they've stepped up a few gears since then. Now then, they're sitting on 24-12. Here's Townsend. Patterson inside, but feed not given. On it goes though, BT. Tackled by replacement, House. Blair once again. But they're not giving up the tackles, are the USA, and they'll play to the last minute, as we know. It's been turned over by the Eagles. Hercus looked forward and was.
Well, trying to go up the short side, I think. Again, poor decision-making by the Eagles. It was them that time who had a large line-up to the right-hand side. Slight concern is the ease in which that ball was turned over by Scotland.
And the slight concern too, really, that there's been no Scotland score since half-time. Admittedly, we have the period with Tom Smith off the field, but they're sitting on those tantalising 3 tries, and will be desperately keen to make sure they get the 4th for the bonus point, as well as getting the win. Now we've got troubles again. Injury.
Yeah, that's right. That's fine.
Well, big Luke Gross, I think, is the person down this time for the Eagles.
There's a player who's really had a pair of rugby boots in his bag and travelled the world almost. Harlequins, Ravigo, Roma, Cletley, and now Rotherham. And of course, the man from Indiana has been the most capped of all USA international players. Did you ever play against them?
No, I never played against the US.
But not many others you didn't play against, really, are there? However, here we are with Scotland against the USA.
Go back, Scotland.
12 points the margin, not anything like Scotland would have been hoping for. But they were always going to give, I think, on current form, a real challenge to any side. But not so. Well, here's a break. Henderson once more. He's made some good penetrating runs. Now with Townsend. Shows it one way back inside. Henderson again. Using his 15 and a bit stone to good effect. Bullock. Almost Metcalf on the burst. Didn't quite come off. Ready for the pop pass and the charge through. He'd have been in. Chance now, though. He's chasing this one. So too is Patterson. It's on the line, and the cover's there from Fee. One of the quickest men in the IRB 7 circuit, David Fee. And he was hunted down then by the pace of Metcalf and Patterson. But we've got a penalty to Scotland anyway.
I'll call it when it's over.
Can you give us
I'll say it's over. Yeah, cool.
Well, the player's saying we didn't hear you give advantage, but there's advantage here. And Scotland, I think, will undoubtedly. Well, will they try and get this extra try, or will they go for the 3 points at this stage? I think the 3 points, yeah.
I think a margin of 12 points with well over 20 to go. You just want to begin to stretch that. You saw England do it against South Africa. Take the points when they're on offer. I think it interested me was Martin Leslie having a chat with the referee, trying to influence the way he was refereeing the game. Just signs about the Scottish discipline. Gordon Bullock is a captain. He's the one who should be challenging any decisions or trying to talk to the referee.
Straightforward 3 points then for Chris Patterson, as the lead goes up to 15 points. And Scotland will be hoping for a rousing last 23 minutes and a couple of tries at least, and a secure 5-pointer, if you like. 5 points, that is, in terms of match points in the pool table. 4 points for a win, 2 for a draw, 1 bonus point for 4 tries, and for a losing team, 1 point if you get within 7 points or less of your opponents. So there's always the incentive for the team that's losing. By that I mean not just of overtaking the one that's winning. Here we are on the halfway, and here's Kirk Kosigian. Blair, Townsend, Anderson once again. Craig in possession, Andy Craig, the Oral centre. Do find the Mexican way when it comes out in front of you is very distracting. Players get immune to it, I suppose.
Thank you.
Lots of knock-ons there.
Just
against Scotland.
Scotland trying to overcomplicate things. They need to keep it simple. When they played effectively in the first half, it was using the channels, using the width and the pace and the power that they have out wide. And they're just signs that they're trying to overcomplicate things at the middle. That time it was a little reverse inside pass to Mike Blair, who was actually on the floor tackled, and the passer didn't realise it.
Look how well the orthodox move with Danieli scoring on the end of it worked out. There was nothing complicated about that, you're so right.
We've not seen that in the second half at all.
No. Mess of made of the USA scrum. Good scavenging. Now it's a penalty against Beattie. Across the line, the offside line. Well, it was a mess, and sometimes hard to gauge where the ball is in all that. Mixed game, Ross Beattie's done some wonderful things, and one or two infringements he wished he hadn't.
Yes, he's looked very strong with the ball in hand, and having good ball carriers is very important.
Well, we're getting the reigning Scotland captain about to replace Michael Blair. Brian Redpath just coming along the touchline and in fact replacing Michael Blair at this point. The man of vast experience, the 32-year-old Scotland skipper, Brian Redpath. His 57th international appearance then as a replacement. Perhaps to try and give a little, not so much in terms of scrum half play, but leadership. There's a danger here. The big number 8, Dan Lyle, for the USA has recovered it. Now it's away with Dalzell to Hercus. They've man over wide. Not great pass, it didn't quite work out. But the signs of this unrelenting USA effort creating some problems in the latter part of this game. Popped up via Eloff. They cannot relax Scotland here. Luke Gross offside by an eager Scotland in defence. And I'm sure something about the arrival of Redpath is to do with this discipline that the referee's gone on about, and needing to sort of restore perhaps a little extra generalship.
Yes, it's only the second time that Gordon Bullock, who's captained the Scottish side.
Yes, indeed, he captained them against Ireland earlier this year. The 104th captain of Scotland.
I think the other important thing about Brian Redpath is the fact that he's not had a lot of game time in the last month or two, and he was a little bit rusty against the Japanese up in Townsville, so a quarter at the end of this match is very important in terms of giving him match fitness.
Yes, I think it's true.
To take contact.
He had the injured arm, injured biceps, and therefore has been out of top international action. Of course, and it's France coming up next. Here's the kick for Hercus then, to really keep USA within the shouting distance, shall we say. 3 points is easy. His 5th penalty goal. 27-15, they're back to 12. That's not where Scotland want to be, within 12 points. They want a bigger lead, and of course, most importantly, just now they need another try.
Well, I think they'll disregard the try if they get the win. That's first and foremost in their mind.
Surprised people have been fairly dismissive of the USA. I always felt that seeing this new lineup, the new fitness regime they've got, the power they have up front, and some skilled half-backs and pace out wide, they were going to be no pushover, and they haven't been. This is Redpath immediately into the action. Scotland certainly created chances, they haven't taken so many. Nathan Hines now. Up and under from Townsend, didn't really get enough forward momentum on it, and it's taken well by Dan Lyle. Good pressure coming on the scrum half from Simon Taylor, but here's the counter-attack from the USA, couldn't get the pass away. Rian van Zyl, he's impressed one or two already out here. Former product of Stellenbosch and Western Province, but here's Metcalf. Metcalf now against Emmerich. Emmerich and the cover to... Well, was there the support player close enough? It's come alive, here's Townsend, go wide, there's plenty outside, popped on by Henderson, big tackles coming in. Well, an exciting passage, one side away, then the other, and it comes again. Redpath ducking under, not through though. That gap closed. Redpath once more, Townsend has a go. Cover good from the prop forward. But they're offside.
No.
Well,
put the ball down.
Referee was playing advantage for
that's right.
quite some time ago.
Put it down. Put it down. 15.
Paul Emmerich being called up by
15.
referee Jonathan Kaplan. Card.
There's a captain.
What did he do?
Also on the red zone under pressure. This man's deliberately held on at the tackle, so he's gone as well. That's
he's held on at the tackle.
It's not important.
Paul Emmerich has gone.
The rocket formed, he's gone.
The All-State linebacker, formerly, and now very exciting young fullback, is bemused, I think, but he said he didn't let go after the tackle.
Well, at least Mr. Kaplan's being consistent. Sent Tom Smith to the sin bin earlier on.
Scotland possession again, but loosely back.
Well, they were trying one of the sort of slightly sophisticated rolls off the side to set up a driving maul to go for that elusive fourth try. Unfortunately, Gavin Kerr knocked it on.
To give USA the put in 5 metres out.
Binding slipped. Let's go again. Nothing wrong. Yep. Just keep the bind. Keep the bind.
15 minutes remaining. And we have a replacement warming up, Kimball Kerr. More about him in a minute, a remarkable individual who might come on for the USA for Dalzell. But he's not on yet, as USA try and drive from their own line. Herkus. Good clearance. And Jason White is poised to come on.
Yeah, which ones?
Ross Beattie goes off. As also the USA bring on both Richard Liddington, the prop forward, and Kimball Kerr. Now Kimball Kerr is a product of Brigham Young University, and a devout Mormon who really had to have quite a lot of problems to try and get to play on a Sunday. Meanwhile, players are running off the field as Scotland attack. Andy Craig, now Redpath, Townsend inside with Nathan Hines, Tom Smith. As the ball is given away again, and straight away it's Kimball Kerr, the scrum half replacement for Dalzell. Well, we're getting errors both ways. It certainly excites the crowd. Won't satisfy too many in the Scotland camp, though, with the looseness of it. Simon Danieli loses it in the tackle this time. Kimball Kerr over the back. Back races Gregor Townsend to his own 22. And sees the opportunity to set up the Scotland counter-attack. Now, did he run into his own man, Andy Craig? It's not whistled for, as Scotland continue to move, and here's Patterson. Patterson now will go himself, but ran away from support, really. Thought he might go the whole way and didn't. In from the side, Scotland are penalised. Exciting passage of play. Frustration though for Scotland. It looked as though they were home and hosed.
Yes, frustration really the word that sums up this last passage of play. It was almost a comedy of errors, with the referee playing about 3 or 4 different advantages after 30-yard passages of play each way.
Well, but still that elusive 4th try. Scotland's priority at the moment to get the bonus point. Should have been rounded off this move. That was a decisive moment, really, when Patterson went his own way.
Yes, he just couldn't get the final pass away, and then Scotland going in at the side of the ruck.
Well, at the base of this line-out, the man I was going to tell you about, Kimball Kerr, who spent 2 years here in Brisbane as a missionary with the Mormon religion. He's from Salt Lake City, and his ambition and his love of rugby means that he does actually want to combine that with playing professional rugby in Europe.
No, just watch it.
Exchange of pleasantries between Jason Pater and Martin Leslie there.
Back right.
Well, we've got 12 minutes to go. It's a 12-point margin, 27-15. Townsend saw a lot of space there. Covering is Fensale. Rian Fensale, a real flyer. Graced a few 7-a-side fields on the IRB 7 circuit, as have most of these backs. Emmerich's gone off, but David Fee is another on the other wing for the USA. And I think the difference with this USA side from previous World Cups is this lot never going to lie down, are they?
No, they prepared very well for it. They defeated Canada, they defeated Japan. We've seen Japan in fine form in this World Cup.
Gave England quite a tough game too earlier in the summer, and they've certainly picked up in this last year. We have an injury. Well, perhaps they've been inspired by the fact they've got 2 presidents of recent times who've also played rugby themselves within America, both Clinton, who played rugby for my old college, and George Bush played rugby too.
People were thinking George W. might come and watch this match.
Yes.
He's in Australia at the moment.
Jason Cater is back on his feet.
Well, interesting overhearing the referee's microphone, Mike Hercus, complaining about some illegal play by the Scots. Asking
injury today to David Hodges as well. He's been off once, of course, with that nose. You know, he had that trouble earlier on, and that's a nasty recurrence of the injury. Just the blood is spilling out again. So it's a rather patchy end to the game here, stop and start. And of course, not to be forgotten, the fact that the USA are the reigning Olympic rugby champions, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Although there's talk of the Sevens coming into the Beijing Olympics.
Well,
which would be quite something.
Would indeed, and I think hopefully those days won't be too far off when rugby, at least in the 7 form of sevens, which is such an exciting game that so many nations can play, will be in the Olympics. But we're here on the 15-a-side Rugby World Cup. 12 points the difference, and Scotland making errors that are denying them at the moment this chance of the 4th try and a more convincing win than so far it appears to be. Charge down of Hercus's kick, but there'd been advantage played. I didn't hear it from referee Kaplan, but there's an earlier knock-on by Scotland. Yeah, let off with the USA.
Yeah, I think Andy Henderson had the ball stripped in the tackle, which was the knock-on. And really, Scotland have only played about 20 or 25 minutes of really good, composed rugby, which isn't enough, considering they're going to play France on Saturday.
France Saturday, Fiji after that. It's a tough end to this pool, but which ones aren't? But this is very competitive, and indeed both Japan and the USA have made sure that it's more competitive than many might have thought it would be.
Well, a lot of people saying that the minnows really shouldn't be included in a competition of this nature because 80 and 90 point thrashings don't do anyone any good. But this group, it's been very tight, been very competitive, and the minnows, so to speak, the United States and Japan, have produced some terrific performances.
Absolutely. Giant Luke Gross. Well, not surprisingly, at 6'9", he started out as a top-class basketball player. Here come America again. That's a knock-on by Fifita. Taylor was first there. It's broken for Scotland. There's a hand in the way. There's a penalty. This is Townsend. This is Patterson. Patterson now trying to weave a path to the post. Get support with Henderson. Townsend's in. Nice little step to fool the defence. And finally the fourth try comes. And it's Gregor Townsend to score it. The man who now equals the record of 17 tries of Tate and Gavin Hastings. That's his 17th. And it's come at a very important moment for his nation.
Yes, he sensed it had to come in a very scrappy piece of broken play. Lovely break by Chris Patterson. Steps off his left foot a couple of times. Gets in behind. Good linked work by Andy Henderson. And Gregor just has to step inside the cover defence.
Well, they've survived a few nasty moments earlier in this half, have Scotland, as USA threatened. But finally they put one together, they've rounded it off. They haven't done that too often this afternoon, but they've got that fourth try. And that was exactly what they needed. Into the last 10 minutes, 8 to go in fact. Here's Chris Patterson from Edinburgh. He was formerly with Glasgow, of course. Didn't catch that at all right. Miscued it. Never mind. The try's there. The margin's 17. And we've got another replacement or two, have we? Andy Craig, I think, has gone off.
Yeah, Ben Hinshelwood is on for Andy Craig.
17 tries in his career of 79 internationals, most capped, of course, of all Scotsmen. Originally, of course, from Gala.
Come on, guys. Number 1.
Bruce Douglas replacing somebody. Tom Smith gone
Tom
off?
Smith's on his way off.
Didn't seem to want to go. I thought for a minute the Gordon Bullock was going off. Wouldn't have made a lot of sense. Well, it's Tom Smith. So is this... No, I was going to say, is this the test lineup with Tom Smith off, I guess? Douglas. Likely to be in that, do you think? I say the test lineup for the big game coming up in France.
Yes, I would expect Bruce Douglas to start at tight head prop.
That's a nasty moment for Dan Lyle. Well, I'm not sure he knocked that forward. Have to be fair. Not even the second one. The referee says the second one. I don't think so. He was a long way away. It was close.
Yes, from where we're sitting it looked quite lateral, but neither touch judge was adjacent, nor was the referee.
All I can say is heaven forbid that we have television replays to determine if the knock-on went forward.
Break up.
If they're going to use technology to the full, that day may come.
Well,
Soccer, of course, have never used television replays to make decisions, but even offside.
No, I think it takes away some of the spontaneity of the game.
Blue ball, crouch and hold. Wait for me.
Engage.
Right there, Scrummy. Right, Scrummy.
Well, they've got their full complement back. USA now. Emmerich's back. Here's Metcalf, his opposite number. Just again, they're safe in this game now, but they can't afford those little errors. The two wingers and a knock on at the end.
Well, I think Scotland looked a little bit rusty in their warm-up matches before they even came out to Australia, and I guess they would have hoped to get rid of some of this rustiness in the matches against Japan and the US, but clearly there are still signs that it still exists.
It hasn't been fluency personified, has it? As with the opening game against Japan. Good moments, and again tonight. But they know that it's another step up that's got to come with France.
Yes, and the French will be a very different proposition, slightly more conventional. I mean, the Scots have scrummaged well, they've won some good line-out ball, it's been a little bit scrappy at times.
Sorry David, 5 minutes to go.
Putting phases of play together.
Indeed. Luke, there's another instance, you see, those things shouldn't happen. Heaven knows how many times they'll have rehearsed that in all these weeks and months of preparation. Admittedly, it's different in the game situation, I know, but they should happen. It should be more controlled. Things aren't secure, are they?
Yeah, there's a real lack of fluency, and Townsend was under no pressure there. There was no one in his face, he just took his eye off the ball.
So the USA can try and counter-attack. Lyle wide. Good defence on Emmerich. Taken on by David Fee. Luke Gross. 19 stone plus. The kick is by Hercus. Metcalf. Hercus is back there, but it's a lovely line kick from Metcalf. Didn't get the luck of the bounce to roll it in. That's what he wanted. Oof, my word, nearly. Here's a kick, I'll give you a try. There's a knock on, there's a knock on. What? Nearly the ultimate nightmare.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it was
for
just
Hercus.
a knock on towards the end.
Just a knock on.
Well, I think Glenn Metcalf was almost taken by surprise that.
Not surprised.
Crouch and hold, just wait for me.
Here we are. Oh, he just snatched at that one.
Right there.
4 minutes to go.
Vantage right for the knock on. And away what?
Well, it's certainly been lively the last 20. Players on and off.
Leave it.
Near tries, both ends. And Hercus is having a pretty uneasy time at the moment.
The scrum off.
Well, interesting, they're bringing Kenny Logan on and replacing Gregor Townsend, which means that Chris Patterson is going to slot into the flying half berth.
Well, they don't come much more experienced than these two, the one going off and the one coming on. Kenny Logan of Wasps, of course, and still at the top of his game. Although this is avowedly, this World Cup, his international farewell as USA break away.
Pass forward.
Well, I wonder if Kenny might not have rounded off one or two of these moves a little more adeptly than might have happened elsewhere earlier in the game.
Crouch and hold.
3 minutes to go. Redpath. And the changed lineup. Logan straight away. Big handoff. 2 handoffs. Elof finally got him. And that was Redpath standing off this time. Patterson. Henderson. Pounding away at the USA defence now. Redpath. Patterson. This is the prop forward. Carr. Still went backwards, says the referee. Hinchelwood. Patterson. Well, who's going to get it? Patterson. Finally rounds it off. And, well, real sense of excitement at that in the Scottish camp in the last couple of minutes.
Well, he sensed the try had to come at some point. There were just too many men, too much space. It it was really going to be a question of who was going to score, not whether Scotland were going to score. Good offload by Gordon Bullock. Bruce Douglas goes well. I think he possibly thought glory might be beckoning there. And then a nice little feed up to Chris Patterson, who's over in the corner.
Well, not just the kicker, but the try scorer as well. 2 against Japan. And tonight, 17 points in total. Yes, some good support work here. Bruce Douglas did well, as did the hooker. Front row very much involved in setting that one up. Well, for the USA, I guess a disappointing margin. Oh, that will round it off very satisfactorily. Chris Patterson takes his tally up to 19. Scotland's up to 39. 4 other tries to add to his, and they're safe now, and will be relieved, I think, to have made it a more convincing scoreline.
Yes, it's been a comfortable victory for Scotland, although they haven't been consistent in their play. They haven't been able to put together periods of sustained pressure. Of greatest concern must be the number of mistakes that they've made. They can't afford to make these sorts of mistakes in 5 days' time.
That's all it is before Scotland play France. For the 3rd time in a World Cup it'll be. There's a penalty, meanwhile, to the USA. We're down to the last few seconds of time. This may indeed be the final player match, and that will rest with Mike Hercus, if it is so to be, to kick for Chat.
Well, I think you read it right. You said it's going to be the last period of play.
Advantage Scotland. Big tackle coming in. Good work by I think it was Martin Leslie, really responsible for winning this ball back. This will go to touch. Well, it should have done. It's still in play though. Kimball Carr. Last fly by the USA. Jason Cater has advantage here. Scotland way. Kenny Logan now, will he have the last word? Couldn't get away, not far short from doing so. Kimball Kerr did to get back. Redpath, this is a great passage of play to round things off and keep the crowd alive to the very last minute. Now out wide again, there's a knock-on.
22 from the
there's
side.
a penalty, that will still be played. Offside, way back cross field.
I think at this point of the game, Scotland need to stick it at back row of the stands. The game's won. Don't want any more injuries. No point in going for glory.
I think there it is, literally as David suggested. Scotland heard, and Scotland then have won the final by Chris Patterson with that late try. So they got the bonus points. Scotland 39 points as ever, above USA 15. Not a bad night in the end for Scotland.